There we go. All
All
right.
right. So,
Perfect.
well, thanks for joining me tonight on Plenty of Questions. I've got the Lockport String Doctor here.
What's going on, guys?
Um, so I'll call you Patrick.
Yeah, that's fine. That would be my name.
Yeah, we won't keep it formal Lockport String Doctor all night, but maybe you can explain where the name came from.
Sure. So, I live in Lockport, New York, and I started getting back into lacrosse about a year and a half ago. My nephew started playing for the local high school, which is Lockport High School, and he was playing goalie. And I really just wanted another stick really, really bad. And I had, all my old ones from high school, the whole Magic series from the 90s, the Brian, the M1, the MD, the MX, and I still have them all. Love them. But the leathers were old and brittle, and I didn't want to break them. So I really wanted another trad stick. I ended up going out to Walmart. I picked up a Gate Recon 1.25, I think, and it wasn't trad, and it needed to be trad. So hence the string doctor portion of the name is I sat down and learned how to string traditional lacrosse sticks off of Connor Wilson YouTube tutorials from Lax All Stars. And once I started stringing, I just couldn't stop. So I just kind of became Lockport String Doctor and decided that I wanted to string trad for people, and had no idea that at the time really nobody wanted trad. Because it'd been so long that I'd been away from the game that when I came back, I was like, what do you mean I can't get a trad stick? Why can't I get a trad stick? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I went and searched one, couldn't find one, so I had to make one. And in doing so, realized that I was a horrible stringer, which was really funny. And as I got better, I just kept posting and kept putting trials and tribulations on the internet. And hey, I did this. What does everybody think? And man, guys came out of the woodwork. Like Seller came out, and 955 Matt came out, and Dr. Dye came out, and just all these great lacrosse personalities. And tweak this, do this. Your interlocks are backwards. You need to fix that. I still, every time I string a traditional stick, have the seller in my head going, hey, check those interlocks, and I double check them every time now.
I can totally understand that. Is the connection working okay for you?
It is. It's
All
splitting up here and there, but it's going all right. Why are you losing me a lot?
I said something about a poor connection, but we'll keep powering through, and hopefully it'll be okay.
Okay.
So we were just talking about it's a little bit later here on the East Coast, almost 10 o'clock, and you said, well, everybody in my house is asleep, and that's kind of how it is usually at my house too. Is I'm the one that stays up late. I'm a little bit of a night owl, so I guess the first question I would have for you is, when you're up and all by yourself at night, what do you do?
I string, and if the mood strikes me, I'll fire up the dye lab, because all the dyers know that the best dyes happen late at night in the dye lab. That's when the magic happens.
The only problem is, like, when you get really into one and all of a sudden you turn around and you're like, oh man, it's midnight. What happened?
It's 4 a.m. a lot of the time.
4 a.m. Work at 6. I forgot to go to bed.
Yeah, man, I got 2 hours to wake up and be bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and work.
Yeah. So I already know this, but for our viewers, I guess, what is Patrick's day job?
Patrick's day job. So I work tech, actually. I work for a company called Local Edge, which is a division of Hearst Communications, and I manage the software testing department. So
fancy stuff.
It's a cool gig. I can't complain, and they treat me pretty well. So, I mean, I could complain, but who would listen? Everybody's got complaints, and that's no fun.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned you got started in the 90s, and so did I. I had played for the first time when I was in high school in the 90s. I had never picked up a stick. My first was an M1 traditional, because at the time there wasn't a Dick's Sporting Goods, there wasn't an internet, and I don't know, may have like been in the infancy. I'm really not sure, but definitely couldn't go online and order something.
No,
Um, but so sorry, my dog's.
no,
And
I get it. My cat's been rubbing my leg the whole time.
after the M1, it was a Edge, the
Okay.
Edge OG, and an Edge Plus.
I didn't have an Edge, but I've got the original Oz, which is
Yeah.
the precursor to the Edge.
But the store I had to go to, so from where I lived to where I had to drive, was probably like 45 minutes away.
Same.
And it came made with traditional. And I thought that this is how lacrosse sticks are made. And, it kind of is where the lacrosse sticks came from. It's kind of the evolution. And I remembered when I first started seeing them with mesh, and then never would have thought that someday the majority of the sticks out there would all be mesh.
I hated mesh. I did one of the, so I had two MXs. I actually had three at one point. And I got my hands on a brine mesh kit.
Yeah.
We had a place called Three Brothers Sports. It was in Milford, Connecticut.
Mhm.
And again, probably a good half hour, 45-minute drive to get to the
Yeah.
store. They had Herman's Sporting Goods in the mall, if you remember those. And my first stick was a Brine Super Light 2 that I had gotten from
Yeah.
Herman's. And then I, of course, broke that because I was playing pole. And Super Light 2 on the pole is absolutely no bueno. So
Yeah.
graduated up and put the MX in there, but they had mesh and string kits in the store,
Yeah.
which was cool.
I remember my
And
first mesh string kit.
do you remember the leather wrap top?
Yeah.
It was a
I
it was a
remember,
leather for the top string.
I still have some of these, and don't ask me why because they're not good for anything anymore.
No,
But I still have the ball stops that came with the kits that are like, I don't know, 6 inches long. It's like, what are you
oh
gonna
my
do
god,
with one of those things?
you're gonna restore an old M1 head with it, man.
Absolutely, yeah. It's probably what I would have to do. Something that has a lot of plastic on it.
Yeah, for sure.
um, but yeah, it's been a journey, and I think similar stories for me and you. And I played through high school and college, and
Mhm.
kind of fell off the face of the map for me for a while. And
Yep.
recently, as I've documented here, kind of have got back into it, and had to purchase pretty much everything all over again because most of my stuff is long gone. It's funny
Yep.
thinking about my first stick being the M1. Um, I was laughing. One of the Instagram accounts was making fun of some. Trying to remember which model helmet it was, about like how old it was, and I was
Oh
just
my!
like, you should see what I played with in high school.
I had a Max Pro bucket with the back
Yeah,
rack,
yeah.
chin pads.
I looked like I had like an Easter basket on my head. It was pretty terrible. So
Definitely, definitely. I wish I still had my bucket. That's the only piece of gear I don't still have, actually.
yeah, at one point when I needed a lot of money, I went to one of those stores with my bucket helmet and my, like when the Cascades first came out, and he's
Yep.
like, "Well, this thing I can't do anything with," which was the
Yep.
bucket helmet, the sports helmet, and he's
Yep.
like, the Cascade I sold, which I wish I hadn't, but I
Right.
think I ended up selling the bucket helmet at a yard sale for like no money, and I regret it, but
Of course.
yeah.
The thing that
But
killed me about mine is nobody's really sure what happened to it. All my gear was in a bag, and I played 2 years of club in college at St. Bonaventure before they got their D1 team this year. We were part of the crew that paved the way, and remember my mom said, "So since all your gear is here, we're gonna loan it to your cousin and
Mhm.
see if he wants to play." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. Grow the game and see if he wants to play." Everything came back. Nobody knows where my helmet is, and I'm
Mm.
like, "Oh, come on, it's got to be somewhere."
The
'Cause
collector's edition.
that's it. Well, I was proud of that bucket because I had,
Yeah,
stars going around it for every guy you laid out. Coach gave you a star to put on the bucket
there you
because
go. Yeah, back when
you
that
could
was okay to do,
exactly
before
you could
we got so
clear
sensitive.
reads for
I
sure.
remember with those helmets is like trying to figure out what the hell to do. You had the laces coming down the back, and it's like, did you just let them hang? Did you braid them? Like,
Uh,
what was the thing to do? And I was so confused.
I remember trying to tighten mine up, and back then, like, there was no tilt back then. There was there was second bar syndrome all day.
There was the opposite of tilt, whatever that is.
That's right. SBS, second bar syndrome.
So you mentioned you got your start playing pole.
Yeah.
Has that been primarily the position through the years, or has it evolved?
So I love telling the story about how I got my start, just because it meant a lot to me. And I mostly played pole. My coach would transition me up to the wing as an LSM for face-offs. But we were at our first game, and I was on the sideline as a freshman. We had 35 guys. We had no JV team, and if you wanted a spot, you had to go get it. And my coach was balling out our captain, and just, "Where's your heart? Where's your hustle? You're not moving." And yanked him and said, "Who wants to go in?" And while everybody was on the sideline raising their hand, I said, "This may be my only shot to ever get on the field." And I picked up my stick and ran through the box. I didn't give him an opportunity to say no.
Yeah.
I didn't give him an opportunity to say yes either.
I like it.
Grabbed my stick, and I'm out on the field. But substitution happened. Greg came in, I went out. That was it.
I like it a lot. That's good. You have to remember that
coach
one.
said he wants to play more than any of you.
Yeah.
And he left me out there, and I was playing midi for that stint. And I got to the ball. I picked it up. I had no idea what to do with it, because we'd only had a couple of weeks of practice. It was game one, and I wasn't being practiced a lot as a freshman on an all-varsity team.
Yeah.
And I picked it up. I found one of the guys I knew was good from practice. I gave him the ball.
Well, you knew that much at least.
That's it, man. I ran both half of the field, and he called for the line change. I ran off, and he said, "Good hustle," patted me on the back of the helmet, and I went and I sat on the bench, winded, and he put me back in one more time that game, and I just made sure I moved and was quick and got to the ball as fast as I could. And at the end of the game on the bus home, he asked me if I wanted to play defense, and I told him I would be happy to play anywhere he wanted me on the field. And the next day of practice, he handed me a pole, and I started D ever since. I was a starting freshman on varsity.
Yeah. I think that's probably as close as you could get to an equivalent of like a Rudy movie in the lacrosse world. So maybe you can write something up for the Hollywood folks.
It was probably the best 10 minutes of my life. Family aside, and getting married and having my son, obviously. But I mean, as far as like sports in high school and all that, that was probably the best 10 minutes that I ever had. That was my 15 minutes of fame, and I wasn't even famous for it. It just meant a lot to me.
Yeah. So I mean, we're a lot alike in that sense that we didn't grow up with the sport. We were introduced to it in high school, and we kind of had to figure it out. So this brings us to our first lightning round. So
okay,
with the special effects and the noises and
ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So this lightning round is going to be, I'd like you to give me, growing up, what were your 4 favorite sports in order to play?
Oh man, so I loved baseball. I played catcher. We always played football at recess, 2-hand touch, growing up, and I always loved that, because it was always trying to figure out where to be and what to do, because I never played organized football.
We did 2-hand touch while we were at school, but when we were out of school, it was always tackle.
If you could sneak onto one of the lawns, because normally we played on the blacktop, if you could sneak over to one of the lawns and the teachers weren't looking, we all came in with grass stains, and the teachers knew what we were doing. But yeah, definitely. And I really only played those 2 sports. And then high school, I actually I found lacrosse when I was 13. I was watching a hockey game on MSG. It was a Rangers game, and after that game was over, the Bandits were playing the Wings, and that was actually what inspired me to pick up a stick. So, and I was also on the diving team in high school as well.
So was that off the tall board?
Meter board, not the 3-meter board. We didn't have one in high school, so that would be 3-meter board's like 9 feet, a little more, almost 10.
Still pretty impressive.
Yeah, meter board's 3 feet, and from the meter board I could get as high as a 3 meter board, but we didn't have a 3 meter competition. So
You still get out there and do some diving?
I get in trouble every summer for backflipping into my buddy's father's pool.
Do you do you have to wear a swim cap with all that beautiful hair?
No, actually, because on the diving team, it's not about aerodynamics and how
Yeah.
fast you can go. It's all about how fast you can flip and your form going in. And I had short hair in high school, so the flow
Well,
came in college.
that's another thing that I missed, from when I was a kid to now is now there's this flow, the lettuce, it's like it's a thing. So
There was always flow, and I say that because I spent I grew up in Connecticut. I live in New York now, but I grew up in Connecticut, and I spent every summer at Brown Lacrosse Camp. And at one point in one of the summers, I think it was 95,
yeah.
we had Roy Colsey as a coach.
Hmm.
And man, did that dude have flow. Like, to the middle of his back flow. And my favorite memory of Brown Lacrosse Camp and Roy Colsey was he said, "We're going to practice over the shoulder catches." I was like, all right. And nobody on my team was any good at that and hadn't seen a lot of players do it. And he put the ball on my stick and he said, "I'm going to go out for a pass. Hit my stick." Okay, I'm going to try at 16 to hit D1 college player in the stick. I threw that pass. It was nowhere near his stick. He didn't even look and came up with it.
Yeah.
And I would just remember saying to myself, one day I want to be that good.
Yeah.
And the other day at box, I was actually running down the field and barely looking over the shoulder and pulled one out of the air. And I was like, wow, I made that Roy Colsey catch finally at 40 years old. It took me long enough, but I finally got one. So it was cool.
Yeah, I did. We did a lacrosse camp at Johns Hopkins, which was a lot of fun, but a little bit different experience for me with the hair. Because if you looked at me now, you would have not recognized me in high school. I was quite the opposite. Hair on top, not on the face, because I went to a private high school, so I wasn't allowed to have any facial hair. Like we even had very strict rules about how low your sideburns could go. I very often was stuck in the vice principal's office, and he would make me shave before school because I didn't shave well enough or whatever. But
did they make you dry shave? Because I went to private school as well.
Just
no shaving cream.
The disposable razors with water.
Yep.
A lot of fun.
Brutal.
But those were other days, and we're past that. So how do you keep it looking so beautiful though? I need to know the secrets. Is it Pantene Pro V?
It is Head and Shoulders because you can't have flakes. And in addition, you water wash it every day, but I only actually wash my hair with shampoo twice a week.
Yeah, I shampoo my beard. And
there you go. I would too if I could get it going like that. See, I got the flow on the top because this is it, man. Like this is, I don't think I've shaved since my wedding, and I got married at 31 years old. So
well, it takes practice. You just got to keep working at it, just like lacrosse.
That's it, man. You just got to will that wonderful, beautiful beard to grow. Is that it?
So let's get into like some of the real specifics here and really tap into your strengths. And
sure.
And I don't know when you started really kind of gaining such a great experience and knowledge when it comes to stringing sticks and pockets, but I wanted to talk a little bit about something I don't know a whole lot about, and that's
sure.
box. And in box, it's a little bit different than the field, and I haven't had a chance on the show yet to kind of get into that for folks. So, let's start with when people hear the terms like box heads and box pockets. Let's start with what makes a good box head.
So most of the guys that I play box with, and I play box with a lot of guys from Tuscarora Nation, and guys who really play box lacrosse and have been playing box lacrosse for a long time. Box was new to me, actually. When I started stringing, I found a guy on Instagram. His name's Josh. His handle's Darky Dizzle. And great dude, and he just had pictures of Bandits fan club. And I reached out to him and was like, "Do you guys play?" He's like, "Yeah." And I asked him where, started showing up, started talking to those guys. And the interesting thing from what I've always been told is what makes a good box head is the pinch and box pinching ahead. which Laxford makes a great jig for that. I haven't had a chance to use one, opportunity to get my hands on one yet, but it's actually probably going to be one of my next purchases.
Yeah, or Christmas idea.
Well, that probably would have been good for this past month, but I wasn't thinking about that. Now that I sit here talking to you about it. But the interesting thing too with the box pinch is that if you're not careful, that's what gets you into trouble as well. I played with a guy in a tournament who he would catch a pass and the ball was instantaneously stuck in the throat and he could never get rid of it. Hold was amazing in that stick, but if you can't shoot and you can't pass, then you can dodge all day. You're just going to get tired.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point?
pretty much. And he would slap it on the ground and he'd start throwing it up, and the ref would actually call him that the ball was getting stuck in his stick, and we would lose possession and it'd go over to the other team. What makes a great box pocket? That's all preference. And I say that because I string for a couple of different guys on my team. 2, 3, 4 guys have gotten heads from me and things strung, and I ask them what they want, and they tell me, and most of them go with field pockets, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I follow Clutch Fanatic 37, who I've talked a lot of box pockets and stringing with him. Yeah. And he's always kind of said, not like a real baggy field pocket, but more you want an up high pocket for a faster release, because the box game's a lot faster. So you want the ball to come out of your stick quicker. You got a high pocket. You're loaded and you're there.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I know a lot of guys who love whip in a box head.
Yep.
Guys who don't. So it's really about your shooting style and preference. One of the guys actually, at the last tournament he was in, got into a shooting competition and was just ripping sidearm shots and stretched his shooters out, and he could throw overhand, but he couldn't crank sidearm. And he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what to do. I was like, well, we'll adjust your top shooter and you should be good. We dialed him up, took about 5 minutes, and he thought I worked magic, and I'm just pulling strings tight. So
yeah. And I guess I should have started by, I always try to keep in mind that there are people that know a lot less about this than I do.
Sure.
We refer to box as like the indoor lacrosse game, and important things to keep in mind are.
Box is not indoor lacrosse. Lacrosse is indoor lacrosse.
So, all right, let me.
The box guys get mad at me.
Yeah, so let me clarify. All right, so how do I explain this? But typically, so how big is a box lacrosse field?
A box lacrosse field is the size of a hockey rink, exactly.
Yeah.
And now I don't know the dimensions, actually, to be fair.
Yeah.
Honestly, don't. I don't think.
Is it different than a field lacrosse field?
Absolutely, at 100 yards.
Yes. So it is bigger or smaller?
Box is a lot smaller. It's a lot faster. And it's got less people because you're running 5 aside with a goalie versus 9 aside with a goalie.
So that's part of this whole concept is, you're all close together, moving very fast, and it's it's the same game, but it's a different game at the same time.
You need lacrosse IQ to play box, but box IQ will go a lot farther on field.
Okay, other big differences, the size of the net in box.
Yes. Yep.
Which is
4x4 for box and 6x6 for field.
Yeah, so it's almost half the size. But if anybody's ever watched this, you'll notice that a goalie that's playing box takes up the entire net.
They do, and I've got to say this for all the goalie guys out there. And don't get me wrong, I love the box goalies, but field goalies are nuts. And I give them all the credit in the world, because more often than not, your box goalie is a field goalie. Typically, probably played field. There are guys who definitely grew up and came up playing box lacrosse, and when they transition out to being a field goalie and take one off the shoulder, it's all that hurts, versus your field goalie in box is laughing the whole time because he's been taking shots off the shin and off his shoulders and off his quads and leg pads with no padding in field. And it's the same shooters. It's the same ball. It's moving just as fast. There
Yeah.
is no padding. So all the credit in the world to the field goalies. Not that I don't give any to the box goalies, but
It
it's a different breed.
definitely changes the strategy and the way you approach the game when you've got a goalie that has as much, if not more, padding on than a hockey goalie.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember the first time I saw a field goalie, field lacrosse goalie, and I was like, "Is this all this guy's gonna wear?" And he had like nothing on. He had like bare legs, and I was like, "That
Yep.
can't be right. This guy's crazy." But that's how a lot of them are.
Chest pad and a cup.
Yeah.
Like that's
Like
how most of the
if you're lucky,
yells
you got the helmet, the throat guard, and a cup, and
Yep.
chest pad.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like,
Yep.
and that's
I'm pretty
it.
sure the guy in our goalie in high school, I don't even think wore arms. And I remember asking him, I was like, dude, why don't you wear arm pads? I was like, you could wear arm pads. He goes, just slows me down in transition from going high to low. Range of movement suffers.
He's like, I'm good enough. I don't need them.
That's it. That's it. I'll move faster if I don't have them on. I've heard that one too.
Yeah. So one thing I see a lot, and I feel like when I see box pockets, there's more laces. Like, there might be 4 shooting laces across the top. Can you explain, is that just again about getting a quick release?
Some of it's about the quick release and some of it's about the hold.
Yeah.
It depends on how you string your shooters. I know guys who so when you're doing shooters, you do like the baseball weave, the braid.
Yeah.
So one over, one under, one over, one under, and you kind of cross weave it as you go through. In fact, that's your typical braided shooter string.
Yep.
And I typically always braid, so I don't know that I have one here, but you can roll. And if you roll your shooters, you can roll them to the back, or you can roll them to the front. Most guys will keep the roll on the back so that the release of the ball is smooth for the transition out of the head.
Yep.
But I do know guys who will roll the front in order to kind of create a lip so that they can carry upside down, walk the dog, and they've got immense hold.
Crazy.
So the more shooters you have coming down the stick, like I usually go with 2 just because I don't like any whip.
Yep.
The more shooters you add in, as you made mention of, the quicker release you're going to have, the faster the ball is going to come out of the pocket. So in which case, if you've got 2 up high, you're not going to have hardly any whip. Ball's not going to come down. It's going to throw up a little bit higher. Yeah. Versus if you throw in 3 to 4, ball's coming out of the pocket faster, but you're probably throwing down. One thing that I've done and have learned to do throughout just stringing heads for a year and a half solid every night as much as I can is if you can string a mesh pocket so that you don't need shooters, so that your throw is good, your release is perfect, and
Matt Gibson,
right?
Yeah,
just the way you want it. If you loosely lay some shooters in there, it'll add to your hold. Mm-hmm. So that's why usually you'll see me braid up too, because more often than not, I want that hold for when I carry.
Yeah.
I want the ball to stay in the stick, and if shooters will help do that, I'll take every advantage I can get. So
that's good. So we talk about pinch in a head, and that refers to, how close the sidewalls are in the head.
It can be. A lot of the time, you'll pinch the scoop up at the top.
Yeah.
And you brace the sidewalls.
Yeah. So maybe the sidewalls isn't the right term, but just to explain to the people who maybe don't know as much as others, but when you're looking at the lacrosse, why don't you grab one?
So I don't have a pinch box head, but if you take a stick like this and you bend it in, that's kind of like a box pinch. And you can see as you move the scoop in, I don't know how well to see as you move the scoop in, you can see the sidewalls come in.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the time you put a ball. I've seen guys put a hockey puck in there.
Yep.
In fact, somebody just had a post up. Was it Seller that had a post up where he was doing a pinch with a hockey puck lately? Might have been him.
I think I remember seeing that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and those guys are awesome because they just have so many innovative ideas.
I love the
Um,
ideas.
the easiest way to actually do it, if you want to do it, and I've picked this up, is in the summertime. If you tie up your head,
Yep.
you don't have to do anything necessarily fancy. Just put put something in there like a softball, and then tie the head the way that you want it, and put it on the dashboard of your car and park it in the hot sun, and just let it sit there
That's
all
what
day.
that's what Skylar told me. Skylar, penny strings down in.
Oh yeah, penny strings, right on, man.
Yeah,
Skylar's
and
penny
he's
strings.
like, I throw it in between my windshield, and he's got one of those nice sun reflectors.
Oh
I was like,
man,
yeah, but I was like, you live in Texas. I was like, I live in Massachusetts, but
you can
still,
still do it though. You
yeah.
when you get in, I mean, my car's black, and my car's black on black on black. So
Yeah.
when I get into that car, it's a
Hmm.
good couple hundred degrees. It's woo. It's stifling in there. But
But
yeah, for sure. I'm with you on the Texas hot though.
obviously there's plenty of resources out there to view. There's people that use chopsticks and they'll use some string and they'll kind of wind the string. Definitely do your research. I would tell people before you try it. There's some
Definitely.
people that will boil water and use the boiling water. Make sure you kind of gradually cool it down afterwards with some water before you like stick it in the freezer.
Yep.
But definitely do your research. And I guess one of my questions for you is going to be, can you unpinch a head?
So the answer to that is, in my opinion, yes. And I say that because one of the guys that I follow and have reached out to on occasion is Green Knuckles Lacrosse. If you've
Mm-hmm.
ever seen him, he's a Fogo. So he doesn't necessarily box pinch his heads,
Yeah.
but he warps the hell out of them. So
Right.
from taking face and everything else,
Mm-hmm.
it's usually this discombobulated mess. It's a hot mess, and I've seen him rehab them. He's got a YouTube video on how to basically unwarp an STX dual, um, and he boils it and
Yeah.
puts a softball in it and ties it up so it straightens out, and then reboils it. He recommends not baking the head because if you bake the head, they get dried out and brittle.
Yes.
But if you overboil them, then they get really noodly.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful for how long you do that too. It's kind of the same thing with dyes.
Yeah.
So when your dyes get real hot and you go to drop and dip them, if you're dropping them too hot, you can affect, I'm going to say I guess, molecular structure of the plastic, and
Yeah.
makes the head a little noodly.
So it's a good word, noodly. It's
Yeah,
that word of the day. So,
there you go.
um, what's your favorite '90s band?
Oh, dude, Alice in Chains for sure.
What's your favorite Alice in Chains song? Tough question, right?
It is
Or
too. So, so you got that band that got you through high school, right? Most people do.
everybody
I
does.
did.
Yeah.
Right. So mine was Alice in Chains. So I had every album. I had it would probably be Goddamn from the album with the three-legged dog. Basically their self-titled album. Um, but there's so many good ones. I mean, I just and everybody's like, "Oh, Man in the Box," and I love Man in the Box. That's what got me into the band. I saw that video and was like, "This band, this is my band." Um, it really doesn't matter what song is on the radio. I sing it at the top of my lungs with the windows down. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
Allison changes on. I'm belting full
So
force.
it's another thing I think that you and I have in common is like music is part of who I am, and I
Yeah.
struggle sometimes doing things without music. But this was going to go into our next lightning round. I have a
Okay.
90s music themed lightning round for you. So I'm going to
Okay.
name the songs and you have to name the band or the artist.
Ooh. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I'll start off easy, okay? Well, maybe not. None of these will be easy. Well, all right, I'll start off somewhat easy. Rump Shaker.
Oh my God, I don't know who that is. I know the song, but I don't know who it is. Wait. No, I don't have it. If it's hip hop, man, I'm not gonna have it. I'm sorry. Hip hop, rap, R&B, I was a metal and a punk kid, man. Grunge, like that was me.
It would be Rex and Effect.
Rex and Effects,
Yep.
yes.
Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
That would be Spin Doctors, right?
All right. Hip Hop Hooray.
Wait, hold on. Hey, Naughty by Nature.
Yes.
All right.
Who had an album 1993, so which would be like kind of at an important time for me. So
There you go, man.
um,
That was right in the high school day.
how
So,
about Hey Jealousy?
maybe we could ride around this town. Ah, come on. Cops chase us around. Gin Blossoms.
Yes, you got it. Oh, Lockport
Sometimes I
Spring
need it,
Garden.
man. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. 90s was a long time ago, bro.
It was, but the music was so great.
It was, too. I saw
Oh,
Spin Doctors with the Screaming Trees and Soul Asylum.
no way.
Yeah, it was a great
Soul
show.
Asylum, also a good band.
In Agawam, Massachusetts at Riverside Park.
Yeah, nice.
That's where I saw that show.
We'll
95?
have to do a whole segment. We'll have to do a whole segment on '90s music some other time. But I think most of
All
the
right,
people
man.
probably
We'll
want us to
do
talk lacrosse. So,
that. Right
so
on,
we're
right on.
almost a week away from LaxCon. I'm really excited. Going for the
I
first
so
time.
wish I was going, but I cannot be there, man.
Well,
And I
you
so
you
want.
can be there with me in
Well,
spirit. You
dude, I
know,
will live vicariously through you, no problem. Just
Yeah.
post a lot and keep going on the live stuff on your story.
I'll probably be posting more than people want to see. So, what can
I
you
don't
tell
think you can
me?
do that during LaxCon. Like everybody's gonna be posting everything, and everybody's gonna be, that's so cool. I
Yeah,
remember last year, man. I lived vicariously through so many.
yeah. So I wanted to ask you, as for me being a LaxCon virgin going for my first time, what should I expect? What should I be excited about?
I so all I can tell you is what I saw through Instagram last year.
Yeah.
And all I would say is, from just following people, what should you be excited about? Dude, meeting the community.
Mhm.
Um, the lacrosse community is something that I personally feel blessed to be a part of. Um, I've had so many people just reach out and help me,
Yeah.
unsolicited and solicited. Um, and when you meet those people, I had the pleasure of doing the Lax All Stars North American Invitational Box Tournament this year, which is why the funds are short for LaxCon. And just doing that and walking around with people who are from the social media community, the lacrosse community as a whole, and just meeting those people and having people go, hey, you're Lockport. Hey, you're this guy. Hey, I know you. I saw you do this. And then just striking up a conversation like you've known them forever.
Yeah.
Look forward to that, man, and cherish it, because I think
Dude,
you'll really enjoy that.
I know I will. I'm really excited about it. And like this was a question I didn't know if I could ask, and I really can't ask it, but I'm going to anyway. But if there was
Yeah.
one person that you would be really excited about seeing there, who would it be?
Uh, honestly,
It's a tough
dude, I
one.
can't answer that because
Exactly.
there's so many great people that go.
Mhm.
Probably. So I talk to him all the time, but I've never met him in person. Mike Sears, 908 Customs.
Yeah.
Um, just great dude. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Always there with a helping, just mantra. Period. I mean, the guy's just super helpful. Any question I've ever asked him, he's always answered and with a quickness like
Yep.
nothing I've ever seen. You hit that guy on social, and he is back to you with an answer, even if it's I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but
I think
just
that's
cool
the
guy,
coolest
great.
thing about it. There's so many people that I'm excited about meeting, and I can't even say that like this is the person that like. All right, so I'm really into horror films, and I've
Okay.
gone to horror conventions before. And
Nice.
usually I got to be like, okay, this is the person that I have to make sure that I go and see and get a photo with and get an autograph. And they're the most important person at this convention. Like, and I can't even start to think about it because they're all so cool and they're also approachable. It's like
Yeah,
a lot of these guys have talked to already, on the phone or through interviews, and I feel like I know them, but it would be nice to kind of see them in person for a change. So
definitely. It's awesome shaking hands with people that are into what you're into
yeah,
and can carry on a conversation for extended periods of time about just something that you have a common connection with, and it's a great thing. It really is. Like right now, This is the first time we've ever really talked, other than texting each other back and forth through DMs and stuff. But
Right. But I know your voice because one of the coolest things about you is your videos. And I really mean that. It is just
I
like
appreciate.
they're so sincere, and I think that's the cool thing about them is your excitement is real. You don't try to
Yeah.
pretend like you're somebody else. It's just,
No,
hey, I've got a package. This is so cool, and I want to share it with you.
that's it.
Yeah.
That was that actually started, so not this past year, but the year before. Connor Wilson kind of threw out Lax.com is having this mystery deal sale, and I'm like, mystery deal sale? What the hell is that?
Yeah.
And I just ordered $100 of stuff, and I ordered a shaft and a head and gloves and that, and I'm like, you ordered all that stuff for $100? Like a head costs that nowadays.
Yeah.
And I didn't have new gear. I was rocking L33 gloves from Brian from '94, and like I said, I had a bucket helmet. I had these old plastic arm guards that were just, they're huge, they're mammoth. And I was like, I need some new stuff. I'm gonna do this and see what the hell I get. And I logged on to Lacrosse.com. I typed mystery in the search bar, and $20 head, $20 shaft, $25 gloves, $20 shoulders. So it's like, man, I can get my whole gear for $100. So I think I dropped like $120, got everything but a helmet, and had no idea what the hell I was gonna get, because you get what you get.
Absolutely.
And that was my first unboxing video. And then I called it Lacrosse Roulette, because you don't know what you're gonna get, and spin the wheel, take a chance, and maybe you come up good, and maybe you don't.
I think it's a lot of fun, but it's also kind of the great unknown, and it's funny doing it live because like, what if this fails miserably? What if I'm very unhappy with what I get? It's like.
So the funny part for me was it did. I had ordered gloves. I didn't order arm pads because I didn't figure I'd wear them, because I never did really playing field. So glad I had them when I played box though. But they actually didn't send me gloves. They sent me arm guards, and it said on the arm guards, said arm guards. It said mystery arm pads, and the receipt in the box said mystery gloves, mystery shaft, mystery head.
That's the mystery, is they're not really gloves.
Right. And because I unboxed it live and just actually tagged lacrosse.com in the post.
Yeah.
And I figure it was probably just bad day in the warehouse, man. You're going through, you're reading the checklist, and you're throwing stuff in the box, and you're like, yep, got it, yep, got it, yep, got it, and then just threw the wrong thing in, and said I was sure they would make it right, and they did. And I got a pair of Maverick Max gloves I got for $25, a $130 pair of gloves at the time. And how do you beat that? I spent $25 and got $130 worth of gear. It's super exciting when that happens.
Right. The last, not the same company, but the last mystery unboxing I did, I got Maverick M3s. It's
nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
Who'd you go through?
That was through Lax Steels.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so
good company, good people.
Same idea. They have from time to time the crates where it's $99.99. Yep. And you answer some questions, like you could say, I want to do the glove package or the shoulder pads, but it's a bunch of other stuff thrown in there too. So
I always miss the crate. I always do the 3-head deals from there, which actually was on there today.
I gotta start like a special mailing list, because I usually like kind of message people and be like, oh, they got it going on, you got to move quick.
They've got an account and they post every day what they've got, but they do it like halfway through the day, so sometimes the good stuff's gone.
They don't post every day. Like, I think
no,
they do a lot. Like, you'll see, but you're right, absolutely, it's much later in the day. Yep. And the one thing us night owls got going for us over here on the East Coast is this is terrible, but there's plenty of nights that I'm still up at midnight. Like, I might be in bed waiting to fall asleep, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait till midnight and see what the deal is. Be the first to jump on it.
Yep.
But there's happens right at midnight. right at
Yep.
midnight as they start their new daily deal. So
Yeah, for sure. Today actually I got to work at like 7:20. My day starts at 7:30. 10 minutes. Jump in, pull it up, look real quick. It's like,
yeah,
oh, they got the 3-head deal going.
yeah,
I got a box of heads at home, man. I need to lay off.
yeah.
So
That
I
was
didn't
me.
pull the trigger today.
I wanted to so bad, but I just did it last time. Last
Okay.
time I picked up the original optic, but I wanted to get one in black so I
Okay.
can have it painted up for me. And
Nice.
so like the optic now, because it's not the newest optic, it's
Yeah.
not actually less. Instead of paying $99.99 for the 3 heads, you pay $85 for the 3 heads
Yeah.
for the regular optic.
Because they take the
And then
15 off. Yeah.
yeah, so there's some of them that I think they take 20 off. Probably
Yep.
like a
I think the
Brian Dictator or something.
yep. Brian Dictator's that's their face-off head. So
Yeah.
and that it's a couple years old, but guys love it. So I mean, they had a Nas on there today for 15 off.
Yep.
Nas 2.
Evo 5. They had a lot of colors of the Evo 5 in there too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
But I was like, I'm gonna take a break from the
Same.
GLs.
Same.
Otherwise, I'm not gonna be able to afford any food down at LaxCon. So
For sure. For sure. That's another thing to look forward to is when the stringers all go out for drinks and dinner, man. Because
yeah.
I've seen a lot of posts on that where because what should I look forward to at LexCon? The camaraderie, the going out together, the swapping stories and all
Yeah.
that. All right, go ahead.
Really excited to it's funny, there's so much overflow too into other things, and I'm meeting somebody down there who works with wood, and they're you actually know them, D Porter, making me up
right on.
yeah, making me up a nice rack for the heads. So
This is my custom D Porter rack right here. I got to get my M1 and MD in there and everything else, but I am cleaning up my basement and trying to find a spot to put it. Hence why it's an arm's reach. But yeah, he great dude. He's I got these old heads and I want to get them strung trad and keep them authentic to the period, but I want them kind of wild with fire threads in them. And he said, what do you want to do? And he's like, you want to work a trade? And I said, yeah. He said, what do you want? It's like, I would love it if you would make me a rack, but at the same time, I know that's crazy expensive because it's going to be heavy and I'm sure shipping's not going to be cheap. I said, but I was like, if you're asking ultimately what I'd want, I was like, that's what I would want, because he just made all these beautiful things out of, reclaimed wood.
Absolutely.
And I was so touched when I opened that too, because it was exactly what I asked him for.
Yeah.
He basically pulled it out of a DM and just made it happen, and it's gorgeous. He does such great work, and his heart goes into it, and he loves the game.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
need
excited
a rack. It up, D Porter. Just saying.
yeah, I'll tag him, but it's probably going to be funny because I don't know how this is going to work. I might be walking like through Philadelphia to my hotel with it under my arm, but we'll figure it out, I guess.
Dude, it's worth it. I'm just saying. Whatever you got to go through to get that sucker home, it's worth it.
Absolutely, but it's like we've all got our other things too, but the lacrosse is what brings us all together. It's funny story that one thing that him and I share that we get a good kick out of is he got me onto the stump shop or whatever it's called. So there was a giveaway. Everybody knows how much I love giveaways, but it was before Christmas, and they were doing this giveaway with like a homemade branding. So you could get like a Lockport String Doctor branding, and I was like, how cool would it be to be able to brand my own stuff? But you had to follow this guy. I'm like, I was like, this is my lacrosse account, and I gotta follow some woodworker. but I started.
I do that, so I which is awesome because not only do I follow D Porter, there's a guy. I think it's White Room Custom Skis, and I latched onto him. He makes his own wood skis, but I found him because somebody posted that he did a wood lacrosse inlay in somebody's skis, and it was beautiful. And I'm like, I'm following this guy. I don't care what else he does.
Yeah,
that's cool. And he just makes really beautiful stuff, and you gotta appreciate one of the things
Absolutely.
about being a stringer is you string, when you get into that zone and it's your moment of zen and it just kind of all falls into place and you feel like the artistry is actually happening.
Yeah,
I can appreciate that in so many other forms. And actually, I was a visual arts major in college.
me too.
So I've just got that takes talent and that's impressive.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. So I do.
So we are
I
we are
follow a lot of
always
artists, actually.
yeah, we're always talking about this guy though because he's from up in Canada and he has the best accent and I don't know what it is, but I could listen to this guy talk all day long, and he talks about wood and like everything that's happening in his life and it has nothing to do with lacrosse, but I'm not going to unfollow him because I'm enjoying it way too much. So
Dude, it's beautiful. It's what it's all about. It's what it's all about, man.
he's probably
Tap
going to laugh when he watches this, but
It's all good. Tap
yeah,
in and hang on.
yeah.
That's it. It's a
Well,
fun ride.
I don't want to keep you all night. You know, we've already been talking well over 45 minutes, but I
Holy
appreciate your
cow,
time.
we have.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, I could do this all day long. It's tough sometimes when I get people to come on the show, they're like, I don't know what to expect. I said, well, we don't have to talk long if you don't want to, but we're going to let the conversation flow, and
I
sometimes it flows a long time.
I figured we would talk lacrosse, and I figured that any conversation's a good one, and
Absolutely.
meeting people and getting introductions is always key. And I appreciate you and your account. As soon as you came on, somebody, I don't even remember who it was. It was follow this guy. I'm like, it's in lacrosse. I'm in. Boom, and I've been enjoying the ride. So thanks a
Uh,
lot to you.
Glad to hear it. I definitely am enjoying yours as well. So keep up the good
Appreciate
content.
that.
And, one of these days, I'm sure we'll cross our paths. We're not that far away, so.
We will. You playing box?
With my arm, it was funny. Somebody was trying to get a pickup game going on LaxCon. They asked me like, "Would
Oh
you
yeah.
play?" And I'm like, "I don't know if you want me to play right now." I've had multiple medical professionals tell me that I have to stop playing lacrosse. So
Ugh,
got to figure that cortisone shots and stuff. We'll get it figured out. I'll be back here,
gotcha.
but yeah,
Gotcha, man. Well then,
I'm sitting
don't
out the
don't.
box season.
I got you, man. Don't play last night then. But I was gonna say that if you do another great event, just because of all the people who come from all the way around the world, um, and go play on the Onondaga Nation outside of Syracuse is the last night tournament, the Lax All Stars North American Invitational. Um, so many cool people and so much great stuff. And to be fair, even if you just show up for 3 days and watch games and talk to people, it's the best box players in the world. And
Sounds good to me.
yep,
I
when
love
you're
watching lacrosse.
yeah,
That's one
when
of
you
the things I'm most excited about with a PLL is being able to watch some more lacrosse.
dude, that's gonna be crazy. So here you go. Here's my question for you. Greg B's coming out of retirement after he swore and swore and swore that he was not going to play the PLL. Were you
Yeah.
surprised? Because I actually was.
Hmm. Very, very interesting. I guess you're probably going to get the story, and I don't know if that's going to be the whole story, but the whole idea, I guess, if you're kind of following it, is this is a league for the players by the players, and that sounds really appealing, doesn't it? Is not only are you being looked at as an athlete, like a hired gun, but you have stock in the company and you get benefits and things like that. So I can definitely see the draw to it. Are there pros and cons? Absolutely. I think to be a player and maybe be in the MLL and kind of be able to say like, okay, this is my home. I'm kind of
Right.
putting down roots here.
Yep.
Is nice. But even at that, I know guys that are in the MLL, but that's that. I guess here we go back again to the PLL. Is the whole reason why is you can't just be a lacrosse player. It's like you have to be a lacrosse player and a lacrosse coach and run lacrosse clinics and never
Yep.
stop. It's
Nope.
how can you? There's nobody out there that can just live on being professional MLL player. So
True. Yeah, they all got the endorsement deals and the coaching and,
they're
and, and
always doing
everything else.
something.
Those guys are amazing. And the only reason I was asking about Greg specifically is I follow him, love Greg Beast, and Brilliant's just an amazing guy.
Yeah.
He was so adamant when asked by everyone all the time throughout posting, I'm done. I accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish. In fact, I watched his Instagram TV video today, and he said, why am I coming out? I'm not thinking of it as a comeback or coming out of retirement. I'm thinking of it as we're all starting a new league. We're all doing it together, and it's all like we're rookies again. And I was like, man, that's got to be an amazing feeling, because you probably, as a pro player and somebody who's accomplished everything that they wanted to accomplish through their career, to be able to think of themselves as a rookie again and have that fire and that passion and that wantingness to come back up through the rank, that's got to be an amazing sense of purpose.
Yeah.
But I was still really just surprised, because he was so adamant that he wasn't coming back, that when he's like, I'm coming back, it's like, wow, I did not expect that. I really didn't. If there was one guy that I believed was not going to pull the 11th Kiss tour,
Yeah.
it was
You
great.
you didn't think he was going to pull the Michael Jordan and come back again.
Yeah, just keep
But,
coming back, and yeah. But like I said, respect him immensely, and amazing athlete, and to want to keep after it and keep going. And I know, he's like, I wake up every day because I push myself, and I want to be the best that I could be. And man, if you're like the best Fogo, then why not play in the PLL? So I get it. I was taken aback by it, because I really thought if there was one guy who was just going to stay retired, it was going to be him.
I think that's very admirable, and that is a really exciting aspect of it. And I'm not trying to compare you or I to Greg, but for us,
good, because I'm nowhere near that caliber.
For us to have been out of lacrosse, for like 17 years or whatever it was, and start over from scratch, there was that excitement of it, of of like being a rookie again.
There was. How nervous were you the first time you set foot back on the field?
So you want to hear a funny story, and
I do.
People have heard this before, but this was a big part of why this old dog lacrosse thing happened. I didn't know what the hell to expect, and still when I got out there, I was still surprised by many things. But I had maybe played under the lights once in my life, and I played fall ball. It was Sunday nights under the lights on an artificial turf. And I also went to a small D2 school that played on grass primarily.
Yep.
So
same.
I had to get used to the whole turf beads and the cleats, and just the way it plays differently. Like even running around felt different. Like working muscles I didn't know I had. But yeah, absolutely. I was super nervous and didn't know what to expect, and was very confused about it. I was like, I didn't want to be that guy that was like, wait a minute, it's like, so, there's no face-offs, because in our men's league, it's an old man league. It was just kind of like, toss the sticks and you guys get ball first.
They do one face-off when we play, but that's the same thing after a score. It's okay. Go.
Yeah. We actually lucked out all fall ball season. The big thing was always, do we have two goalies? Okay, let's go. And they're usually good about finding somebody if they needed to, but the very last game, they were told that two of them would be there, but one guy didn't show up. So we put a huge trash can in that for a while.
Yep.
And they were like, it's got to be 3 passes before you shoot. And there were still guys that were like nailing the trash can. But after a while, one of the guys is like, I don't think he's coming. I got some extra pads. I'll suit up and jump in there. So,
whoo,
yeah,
that's bravery.
It's bravery. But I had to play goalie once in high school JV, so the JV goalie wasn't there, and they're like, we're not going to be able to play a game if nobody plays. And I was like, well, I've never done it, but I don't want to give up the whole game because we don't have. So I was an attackman, with fancy stick work, and I remember the first save I made, and I was so happy. And I went to spin the stick like I would often do with my stick, and the ball went right in my own net. And I was like, how'd that happen? It was a natural thing before I went to throw it. It was just kind of spun it, and it went flying back into my own net. I was like,
I got you.
All right. Point taken.
Yep. Don't do that again.
Yeah, they didn't ask me to play net anymore. So
Well,
my other
scored on
claim,
yourself for the first
yeah,
save is that's rough. But dude, you got a story. That's awesome.
my other claim to fame in around the same time in high school was we had 3 girls that played on our team. So
Oh,
we
nice.
didn't have girls lacrosse on this team. We were lucky that that school even had lacrosse.
Right.
But these girls wanted to play. You know, they put pads on and they suited up with the guys. The one time I got my photo in the paper, they said it was Emily O'Donnell, one of the girls on the team, and I was like, "Come on!"
Man, she was all that flow.
Yeah, I guess so. I was like, "That's me."
Son of a. Uh.
I was like, "I don't even know if I want to keep this newspaper clipping."
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Gotta
I
have
should
it.
have called in and be like, "Can I get a reprint? Like, can I get a whatever you
Yeah.
call it, correction
Fraction
made?"
of that game and put mine in.
Oh yeah, so
Good stuff,
good.
man.
Well, anyway, I tried to let you go, but I forgot. I kept talking. Now we're well over.
Did you keep talking or did I? So
I don't know. But thank you very much, Patrick,
definitely.
Lockport String Doctor, and look
Thank you,
forward to
Andy.
talking to you again. You know,
Same.
in about a week or so, I'll be at LaxCon and sharing all sorts of good content. So
You
it'll
should
be
be.
like you're all there with me.
I will be sure to follow, man, because I'm gonna be jonesing, because I'll be here. So sitting in my basement stringing, man.
Maybe next year.
Dude, I don't know, because I kind of want to play last night next year too. So I'm trying to save up now for everything I want to do.
Yeah.
2019, and it's
Yeah,
only
it's
like the
tough.
third
You
day
can't. There's so much we want to do, but
for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure, man.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.